Dwight Peckerhead. Dwight Peckerhead formed both halves of the most insignificant gobble player to have ever lived or died, or lived, then died, or even to have lived, died, lived again, and then died. There is an unbelievable amount of inconceivable history surrounding the artist whose gobbling exceeded the old fart style of playing that was popular for 2,000 years prior to his birth, and heralded a new and shit era in unpopular music. Dwight was an able musician assist and played most of his tunes in the 5th, 6th, or missionary positions, a convention more common to neoclassical playing than old fart music. Dwight Peckerhead is also credited with being the 71st recorded unpopular artist to record unpopular music, after 70 other unpopular artists had recorded unpopular music, or something. Peckerhead's unmusical career covered 97 decades. He was an unconsummated musicianist by the turn of the century, a feat made all the more remarkable by the fact that he wasn't born until 1908, and became an amateur professional musician by 1920. He was an easy lay, quick to drop his pants, and self-assured about his talent as a knob gobbler. He was never satisfied by simply playing music repetitively, and was known for his penchant for experimentation whenever he was gobbling. Peckerhead's repertoire and gobbling style was infirmly entrenched within the shit unpopular tradition of early 18th century Western gobbling. While he helped create what is today referred to as the cack style of gobbling, his unmusical influence and effluence extended well beyond shit music, and even included something that could be described as not too bad really if you're a bit drunk and not listening properly. Dwight Peckerhead was, or might have been, or actually wasn't, first and foremost one of the world's great folk gobblers. Further, more or less, through the music and gobbling antics of Peckerhead and his associates, a great and small deal of bullshit can or cannot be learned, forgotten, and relearned about the folksy tradition of gobbling, and the historic cultural and historic culture in which it flourished, thrived, wilted, and eventually died. Nevertheless, it would probably be best all round not to think about him at all. Peckerhead is not famous, but if he was, it would probably be as the fattest person to record an uncommercial old fart music record. This he did not do, but if he had, it would probably have been in the company of fellow gobbler Norbert Sandblast on August the 32nd and September the 17th, 1836, or some other date, for the Vickers Knickers Talking Shit Machine Company, or some other company, or maybe not at all. Peckerhead and Sandblast, a courteous war veteran from Anus Okidoki, first met while entertaining soldiers at the 1869 Old Courteous Soldiers Reunification Get-Together meeting at Richmond T, Biskinia, and decided to go to New Yank for the specific purpose of recording themselves knob-gobbling soldiers. Sandblast, a former Justice of the Penis, knew a crooked lawyer there named Wanda Geramoff, and after their 75th first night in New Yank, the two pathetic excuses for men stayed with Geramoff, who treated them to a tour of the city, including a visit to the Weinstein pianolophone factory, a visit Peckerhead remembered fondly 2 weeks later. The sight of Peckerhead and Sandblast touring New Yank dressed in a combination of army combat uniform and bondage clothes, and undoubtedly carrying a selection of sex toys, might not be unusual today, Friday. But as Peckerhead recalled a fortnight after the event, them folks up yonder in the big city took one look at us and I can't recall what happened now. Doggone it. Peckerhead and Sandblast recorded My Asshole's a Quivering Mess and Goo Drop on My Lollipop in August the 32nd, with Sandblast playing the melody to two completely different tunes and Peckerhead singing a harmony so high that only dogs could hear it. The next day, Tuesday, Peckerhead sneaked back into the studio alone to record Slapping Balls a Boogie and Goblin and a Gushing. 12 tunes from these sessions, including There's Nothing on This and I Can't Hear Anything, were released, recaptured and then re-released in Novril 1914, becoming the first 12 unpopular records ever, never and ever again to be issued by a khaki musician. Peckerhead stayed in New Yank for a total of umpteen days before returning home to Warrawanka, UR, full of stories, most of which were untrue, and pure bullshit, which definitely was. In the 358 years before Peckerhead recorded his gobbles again, this time in Dangleberry with the Dyscalculia 7 Quartet, all but one historical accounts of Dwight Peckerhead ceased after this, as though he had jibbed it all in and fucked off and died or something. But nothing could have been further from the truth, with the possible exception of a wildly improbable story, so implausible as to be considered unbelievable by any stretch of the imagination. However, one recent account, this one as it happens, provides a fascinating glimpse into the later life of Dwight Peckerhead. The final decade of Dwight Peckerhead's life was marred by public slander and humiliation, as the world's music press began to print malicious stories aimed at tarnishing his once spotless reputation and branding him as nothing more than a knob gobbler, and encouraging people to throw eggs at him in the streets. The once proud musician died of salmonella poisoning in Marchbury 1972 at the age of 36. Aptly, his gravestone reads, Gone Goblin.